I am true to myself. I know that pure joy is the result of being in alignment with my soul.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When we read this one later.
Love that so much. Okay, so let's unpack boundaries a little bit. And if you would both indulge me a bit, I would love to give you this through an example. Okay. Scott, you ready for this? I know you've been dying to know what's been going on here. So. Hey, it's me, Erin. Thanks for joining us on the More Love podcast. Do not tell Rebecca, but this podcast is about empathy. She likes people to think she's dead inside, but the truth is she's a big-time feeler who has truly helped me uncover that empathy is my superpower. Oh, here she comes.
Hey, bestie.
Hi, love.
What are you doing?
Oh, just getting ready to host a podcast.
A podcast? About what?
Our life as best friends who are more like sisters.
Yay! I love us, and I can't wait to share our stories with the world.
Especially the ones that involve us pushing each other, right? To be our most authentic selves.
Oh, man. Okay. We're back. Well, I don't think
no one even thought we were gone. But we feel like we're back.
I know. It's so funny. We took it wasn't even taking a hiatus. It just the schedule
just got a little busy.
Little end of the summer nuts. We went from nakedness to full on sweater. Basically winter.
But what happened as soon as I sat down in this podcast chair is I legit reached over my right shoulder to put my seatbelt on, like I was sitting in a chair in the car.
Buckle up.
And I feel like maybe that is, foreshadowing or something.
See the shirt I have on?
I do,
yeah.
yes. Listen to me.
Oh, come on, Scott. Rebecca's been taking inventory of how often you wear that shirt, what day it is when you wear that shirt.
Do you want to know what's fucked up? I absolutely thought that when I walked in today. I thought, he hasn't worn that shirt in a while.
Yeah.
You are literally a witch.
I know.
You read my mind.
I know, but you've been taking inventory every time you come in here.
I know.
You've got a little tally mark.
One shirt.
Well,
not fair.
Well, lost a couple of pounds, so now the shirt feels better.
Congratulations. You know who's not going to lose weight? If I sit next to this cookie smell much longer. You got this. This is not okay. I'm waiting for the cookies to come in.
It's either that one or the tacos. So.
Oh, no.
Ew.
No.
The taco air freshener.
I don't like the BO smell. Thanks.
Ew.
No.
Yeah, the liver and onions one doesn't.
No, it's not doing it. It's not doing it.
That's not
good. Good for you.
Scott, why don't we take the next 10 minutes and you tell us how much you missed us?
Yeah, please.
Can you tell us all the things that you missed about us?
Did you give me a little flower?
Why don't you tell us? We want to know why you missed us. We want to know individually why you missed.
Are you pulling the thing out of my book?
Yeah, we want to know what feelings were coming up for you, how much you missed. This is like after Rebecca does the stupid escape rooms and she wants 20 minutes of congratulations of what she did well. So we want individual information about what you missed the most about each one of us and then what you missed the most collectively when we weren't here.
Jesus, if I'd have known that I was going to have to do this.
You made a list.
This is good training for your marriage, Scott, because Kelly can come out with this stuff at any time.
I don't need any more training for my marriage. What is it, 21 years, 22 years?
Then you should be good at the on-the-spot feedback. Okay, well, you just said.
You just had a little moment of panic there.
All right. So besides the fact that you both are gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic today.
Thank you.
With the long ass fake hair.
Yeah, that's Rebecca. Yeah, I know you all are surprised to hear that was Rebecca.
You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
We got, for those of you listeners who don't know, we got into the habit of recording these on Monday mornings. 2 at a time.
So it was a long Monday morning for you.
Yeah, it was. But
and a long anticipation the night before.
There used to be. Now, no, there used to be, because it used to be, you remember there was a time where it was very stressful for me to do this show.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
And it wasn't anything to do with you personally. It was the tech.
Oh.
I was having a lot of tech problems for a time. So it was like really difficult for me to get things going. But now can you see him behind me? Where is he?
Where's Joe?
Joe, where are you?
Joe, pop in the bubble.
Pop in the bubble.
Joe from the submarine.
Joe!
So That sumbitch right there.
Yeah.
Oh, game changer.
We like Joe. He almost got fired this morning if he was going to be late, but he wasn't. He was on time. He's actually a little early.
I've made it clear that he can stroll in and stroll out whenever he wants, as long as he kicks ass while he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. See? Yeah. He does. He does.
So he has helped tremendously in a lot of the stress relieving things here. And we're still working through that. I mean, he's fairly new. I've been here for 6 years and he just started. But now my Mondays, I feel, are less stressful because I'm not sitting here for 2 hours doing a show when work's not getting done. And so now work's getting done. And now I can enjoy the space that we share.
Nice.
Did you hear a lot of compliments about Joe and nothing about us?
Yeah.
I'm building
Okay.
up to it.
We better, ours better be a real freaking rocket ship good, because Joe just got a resounding review here.
Fucking tough crap.
Yeah, great. Joe, yeah. Joe. Next.
Yeah.
We're still waiting. It's fine.
So you both are tremendously funny.
Oh, thank you. Who's funnier though?
Definitely you.
Well, see, there's
definitely
different. There's different types of comedy going on here. You know,
What are those types?
what are those types?
Yeah.
So, well, obviously, we're in the middle of some sort of situational comedy, right? Where you've got the ball of chaos just keeping herself together, Rebecca.
Yeah.
And then you've got the what the fuck is your point of view, Erin? That I try to like. That's why the bubble's in the middle, because I'm constantly trying to understand how to be in the middle.
Good luck. Good luck.
And
Good luck with that.
It's really hard. It's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
But you both always make my Mondays just happier because it's just fun. It's fun. And I do learn something from the podcast. And I have actually taken what I've learned and applied it to my life in many cases.
It's where
our work is done here.
That's right.
And
Our work is done.
Right. That's all we care about.
That's all we care. That's what we want.
Oh,
There's
more to.
Oh, there is. Oh.
Listen, your work is never done.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So go back to, remember the whole issue I had with my neighbor upstairs, the new neighbor, and the sound.
Absolutely.
We are like this now.
Oh.
I'm over here. But she texts me now and says, "Hey, this is happening, and I just want to make sure it's not gonna like cause any problems." And I'm like, "No, everything's fine. Thank you, appreciate it." I never actually see her, but she always texts me and says that stuff.
Stop it. I'm going to cry. It's the respect mutual relationship.
Because we built interpersonal relationship skills that made that possible.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. That's all.
It in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, and because do you remember how distraught you were, and you were in such a spot? I remember I was sitting on the floor in a hotel room texting you.
Why were you on the floor?
I don't know. Darnell was in the bathroom, put his makeup on or something. Who the hell knows? And I'm sitting there, and I just remember saying two things. One, I remember saying, "You're having a triggered reaction to this. Why?" Not like why, but like tell me more about that.
Right. Let's dig.
And then the second part was I would respond very similarly to that woman. So help me understand why that would be different. Right. And that really set the tone, hopefully, for what then ended up being this like come in peace conversation when she came downstairs. And I remember saying, the first thing we do is we make it light when she comes in. Like, hey, I'm your asshole neighbor from downstairs who's not really an asshole. And that I remember that's what happened. Mm-hmm. She started it. She was like, hey, I'm the jerk from upstairs. Nice to meet you for real now. Mm-hmm. Nice to meet you for real the first time, right? I love that.
That's great.
And I specifically love that because I believe that having those types of conversations is the kindest thing you can do to a fellow human being. It might come across as difficult and
it's temporary.
Right.
It changes the trajectory of everything. Do you feel like you're in a stadium?
Thank you for coming.
No, do you hear
bills,
that?
Bills.
That's what I hear. It's funny. Yeah.
Maybe tell Joey you should fix it. Maybe you got some tech problems back there.
It's not a big deal. It's a very different experience than than normal. But
I love that.
I don't know why that's happening, but
yeah, that's really great. Changing the trajectory of a neighbor situation. So great.
Just having an honest conversation about what did or did not work without it needing to be anyone's fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
Narrative therapy. So the problem is the problem. The person is not the problem. Focus on the problem. Let's focus on the problem is the problem.
Yep.
The person is not the problem.
Yeah.
But because of this podcast, I have learned to take a step outside of these situations and really try to think more. And I've always been an empathetic person, but to the extent where now I'm kind of more understanding the mechanics of empathy and like why you do that and why you would try to think and stop just assuming. Like it's all the assumptions that we make.
Oh, yeah.
Like you automatically assume the other person's agenda, or the reason why they're saying all this stuff, and you most of the time are dead wrong. Someone just yelled at me. Why? Because he's an asshole. No, why? Because his mother just died and his kid got in a car accident all in 5 minutes. And that kind of shit happens.
That's right. That's right.
People don't realize that all those weird things that you say never happens, it happens all the time to people. And you're like, we've seen the memes and stuff on Facebook or whatever that it says, that guy that just cut you off, let him be or something because you don't know what he's going through.
That's right.
Obviously, I'm terribly paraphrasing.
No, but I know what you mean.
Because that meme doesn't make an impact. Yeah. You hope it would. It's way too long.
The meme.
Yeah, right.
The meme. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Scott. That's so nice.
So you I'm trying to. I'll come up with Rebecca's taught me, but just kidding.
That one was all for me.
Yeah, that was all.
Listen, It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not the expert in empathy here, clearly.
No, I would be really honest with you. I give Rebecca the hardest of hard time. No one gives Rebecca more of a hard time than I do. But I am not me without Rebecca. I mean that wholeheartedly. It is, and it's the tiniest little ways that you see it. I know. It's the tiniest little ways that it comes out that Rebecca doesn't get a lot of credit for much, not just in this relationship, but I just think in general in a lot of her relationships. And that's something we've talked about so many times between the two of us. But people don't often see her value or don't always give her credit for her value. But it's when that's not present that you start to really feel this like, oh, right. So cool. Erin's cool on her own. Like to hear what she's got to talk about, right? But like also it's not as fun. It's not as random. It's not as like the perspective that she provides on these things. I shoot her down constantly about her perspective. But when I 100% of the time, when I stop and actually try and listen to the essence of what she's saying, not her actual words, I get in trouble there because I'm incredibly literal. If I listen to her actual words, then I'm just constantly, no, that's stupid. But if I can get below what she's saying and understand the essence, it's spot fucking on every single time. And it's the perfect complement to what I'm bringing to it, right? And so that's what she brings to the podcast. It's just harder to see sometimes. But I think a lot of people who listen to this show just feel this endearing connection with Rebecca because she is who a lot of people are, but like either don't have the confidence to be or don't know how to say it in that way or don't feel comfortable being, Yep. They're a little more reserved or button up or, I can kind of see what she's saying, but I don't want to admit that out loud,
Yeah. And you can, in some twisted way, you can learn to be more self-assertive by watching what Rebecca does. Maybe not twisted, but you know what I mean.
You can learn that here on the podcast, just not in real life. Because the
podcast is all that matters. Real life.
Yeah, fine. That's fine. Don't come with her on real life because she is not assertive at all. She will get railroaded every single day. She'll be like, I'd like to charge $20 an hour. And they're like, how about $7.50? She's like, okay. All right, that's fine. And will there be a whole lot of extra chaos in this job? That's fine too.
Yeah.
That's fine too. Which is a great segue into what we're going to talk about today, which is a little more empathy with boundaries. And sort of trying to figure out where that line is of having an empathic, caring for other people, seeing other people, but also knowing when it's okay to assert yourself. And I think we as women really struggle a lot with knowing where that line is, how that line shifts, and then second guessing ourselves if we came off too strong or if we were, we often know when we've gone too far in the empathy direction because we're overburdened and we're tired and we're stressed and we're annoyed and we're all of those things. But when we go in the other direction, which is, real strong boundaries, maybe quickly or more quickly than we would have thought, then we feel the guilt and the shame associated with that. So where's the part where you actually assert a boundary and feel good about it?
Well, yeah.
Right?
That's a great question. I never feel good with boundaries.
Yeah.
Ever.
I rarely find women who are like, I nailed that in terms of a boundary category. And I feel real great about that boundary. Right. And I don't think this is something that stereotypically, I don't think men struggle with as much. I think they set boundaries quicker. And then I think they just shut those guilt, shame, whatever, because they just justify it and move on. Right.
I have a big problem with boundaries. And not like in a weird, creepy way, but just like in your, like, for instance, I would say we've become friends, but you're still my clients. You know what I mean? Like I work for you, but it's weird because and that happens with all of my clients. I become so close to them that, and it hasn't happened here where I had to I'm afraid to put my foot down because you're stepping all over me. That hasn't happened in our situation, but it has happened in other cases where I'm like, I'm really letting this person take advantage of me because that boundary, that line between client and proprietor or whatever has blurred, and it's become sort of a friend thing, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sorry, all right, you can go ahead and cancel today, that's fine. Whereas if it were someone else, I would be like, well, no, you blocked up my calendar for 3 weeks and I couldn't book anyone there, so I need to charge you.
But isn't that interesting that what you're essentially saying is, it's harder for me to have boundaries with friends than it is for me to have boundaries with clients. Why? Why is boundaries with friends an oxymoron? Right? Why is it that just because we're friends with you, if you feel you're getting taken advantage of, you might be less likely to bring that up because we're in the friend zone, instead of it being the opposite? Because I care about you as a friend, it's important for me to set the boundary. And I don't think that experience you're having, Scott, is at all unique. I think 99.9% of the world is like, I can't have that boundary with my mom because she's my mom.
Once you establish a, quote, relationship.
Right. I can't have that. I can't have that boundary with my significant other because, right? Or with my best friend or my best colleague at work that we always go to lunch together, right? Because now we're friends. Now we're close. Now we have a bond, right? And I'm not saying I do this 100% of the time, but my statement on that would be, then it's even more important to protect that relationship through boundaries. And maybe boundary doesn't need to be a bad word if we really unpack what is boundaries. And I'm hoping that that's what we can do today. So I know we're a little out of practice here, but you need to start us off with some hippie boo.
I don't think so.
No?
I think this is the end.
Oh, you want me to start an affirmation card?
We can. This particular, just so the audience knows, we always pick the cards prior to starting the session, meaning when we're
right before
the intro music starts is when the energy comes in, the card is picked. 9 times out of 10, I don't even read it, but I happen to skim this one.
Yeah.
And this one feels more like an affirmation, and I'm not exactly sure what's going to come out of this conversation, but the energy feels in my gut that this is an end sign off.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
So then I'll start you with an affirmation. I am true to myself. I know that pure joy is the result of being in alignment with my soul.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When we read this one later.
Love that. So much. Okay, so let's unpack boundaries a little bit. And if you would both indulge me a bit, I would love to give you this through an example. Okay. Scott, you ready for this? I know you've been dying to know what's been going on here. So, where do I begin?
What are we talking about?
I'm on a flight.
Okay.
I land. I check my phone like I always do. And I see that there is this reality show.
Oh, okay. This is what we're talking about? Okay.
There's this reality show on TV called The Blox. And it's basically Shark Tank meets, what was the Apprentice. Thank you.
Which
Shark Tank meets The Apprentice.
Shows,
or at least that's what they say they are. Let's say that. And so I, on a whim, fill out the application form. Doesn't take very long to do it. It's essentially a show where business entrepreneurs go on and they compete in a series of challenges to, at the end, win, I don't know, 25 grand, some 10 grand, who the heck knows?
Hold on. Let's clarify. It's business related challenges.
Yes.
It's not eat some bugs. We're not
doing Fear Factor here. Yeah. Erin's not applying for that. I'll tell you that.
It's like market your business and compare the marketing to this.
You have 5 minutes to put together a marketing campaign around this topic for whatever. And you've participated in a ridiculous amount of quote unquote education throughout the course of the week. And the education is supposedly taught to you by coaches or people who are quote unquote successful entrepreneurs, or the guy who runs the show. His name is Wes. I can't remember his last name. He was from
the host of the show, right? Yeah.
He's from The Real World?
One of them.
Or Road Rules.
Back when you and I were in high school.
90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's irrelevant, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. well. That's, again, asterisk, foreshadowing. So I sign up for this, and all of a sudden I get moved on to the next round. And the next round is where I need to complete 3 short videos that are less than 2 minutes apiece on 3 questions that pop up. So it's one of those like interview platforms where it's like, here's the question, and you get 3 takes to answer it, right? And you have to answer it within a certain amount of time, and then it shuts you down. So I do the first one, submit my first take. Do the second one, submit my first take. I'm like, this is who I am. You get what you get, right? I submit it. Next thing you know, move on to the next round. And the next round is a phone interview for 45 minutes.
Jeez.
So I get a message that says, congratulations, we are moving you on to the phone interview round. And I'm like, oh my God, Rebecca, this is so crazy. Well, we might be able to be on the Blox. And she's like, I'm absolutely coming on the Blox. I said, I know, we're going on together. I already got the price quote for both of us.
Now, did you see this show before? Like, have you ever watched it?
No, not prior to her learning about it.
Yes.
When she texted me and said, have you heard of this? I looked it up and then immediately went to Amazon and started to watch it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had not heard of it before either. But then once I started applying for it, I went home and watched like 3 or 4 episodes of it.
But it's like 13 to 15 seasons.
Well, they're on season 14 right now.
Right.
And those are some of the early seasons.
Exactly.
Right.
The ones on the Amazon Prime is the early seasons.
And I'm going to be real honest with you, not super impressive.
No.
The content was pretty interesting, but the videography, Scott, was
iPhone quality, if at best.
C or D quality.
It's terrible.
Scott would have rolled over.
They're clearly filming in a hotel banquet room. Like it's low budget.
Yeah, right.
Low budget.
But again, they were on season 14 at this point. Right. The money amount was increasing. You don't necessarily go on there for money. You go on there for the education and to be around these other people and whatever.
Connections, all the things. Yeah.
So I get moved on to the interview stage, and I end up having a 45-minute conversation with this woman named Maddie. And the conversation goes really well. She basically asks questions about what is your business? What does your business do? How do you help people? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What is one area that your business needs to work on? What do you think you will take the most coming from the Blox? They said that they do the filming at this hotel in Tulsa, Oklahoma called Osage. Is that right? The Osage.
Something like that. Yeah. It's like a hotel casino, isn't it? Yeah. It's like a
hotel bar casino.
Resort.
Because they brought that up. Yeah. And they were like, this is at a casino and bar establishment. Will that be a problem?
Right.
I said, it's actually the opposite of a problem. That sounds fantastic.
Right.
Sounds like in a dream. This is 1 week. You go for 7 days for them to do the filming of this. So I finished the conversation with this woman, and she's like, I don't usually say this to people, but I just love your personality. I love your business. I love what you're doing. You're the perfect person to have on this show. We're reviewing all of this stuff on Sunday. You can expect to get an offer letter early next week. I immediately call Rebecca, freak out. We're on the Blox. We're going to be on reality
At that point,
TV.
did you tell her about me?
Oh, yeah.
Because she texted me and said, let's set up a call.
When I got on the phone, I said, hey, I got my girlfriend waiting for me to give us a call for this interview so that it can be both of us. Do you want me to just loop her in?
Right.
And she was like, oh, well, I've never had that happen before. But no, I think I'll just meet with you first. And then if this goes well, I'll schedule time with her. So she says immediately she's going to schedule time with you. And I say, well, good luck with that, because she's a loose cannon. So if you think it was great talking to me, wait till you talk to Rebecca, right? And at the same time, I pitch Scott.
All right.
So I'm like, we got this guy. He does all this production work. He can come with us if you need additional support from production, right? She's like, we do. That's awesome. So I said, great, I'll send you Scott's contact information, right? I immediately contact Scott. I'm telling him about this opportunity. I'm like, I think I brought you in on a gig. I'm so excited, whatever. I go in, I put this on our calendar because the timing is perfect. And so I put it on all three of our calendars. I am so excited about this.
Can I jump in? When you told me about that, you brought me in to, offered me up essentially to work on that. Coming from a production background, what I saw in my mind was her saying, "Oh, that sounds great," because whenever you're doing something and the person that you're talking to, they're like, "Oh, I got a great person for you." Like I got in production, specifically in production. If I'm talking to someone, they're like, "Oh no, I got this guy who's awesome." You're like, okay, we got a team. We're good. But you know what I mean? So in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if it's legit, if she's just blowing smoke up your ass, or if they're actually going to call.
Now,
but I kept that.
We had watched the early episodes. This podcast is a 10 out of 10, especially compared to those episodes.
I mean,
okay. The Instagram reels I do on my phone are a 10 out of 10 compared to what these people were putting out.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So I'm like, I got a guy and you need a guy. And she was like, I'll talk to our production guy, but she seemed incredibly excited because I'm gonna be real honest with you. This is now going to come out to the other part of the story. They need all the fucking help they can get. And they're trying to make this into something. It's a startup, right? They're trying to, it carries a financial burden associated with it. So the contestants need to pay for the hotel, their own flights. They need to pay for food. They need to pay for the instruction that they're getting, right? It's essentially the cost of a normal conference for two people. That's how we could justify it, as a business expense. Plus, we thought that the marketing opportunities were going to be really great.
Oh, wait, you had to pay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you had to pay. You basically had to pay for your ticket, but it also included your access to these coaches. And in theory, if as a business, if you were to get access to any sort of business coach, you'd have to pay. A
week long. We're talking 9 to 9.
Right.
Education, instruction, ability to potentially win. It's like a boot camp, incubator program.
It was an incubator program that happened to be filmed. Is really what it was. It wasn't necessarily like a actual TV.
Interview people and select which ones they'll allow to pay to be on this thing.
Well, yes, and
that's what they say.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they say.
Okay.
Right. And Rebecca had already known this because she already did her research and she was already like, I just want to let you know there's going to be a cost associated with this. And
consider that when you're considering all things. Yeah.
And we were fine with that. And I talked to my financial advisor and good. We were good to go.
Now, did the person that you did the interview with, did she say this right up front?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she told every single thing. This is how much it would cost. We have payment plans available if you need that. Will it be a problem for you to be able to
because immediately they're going to, if you say, oh, I didn't realize that, they'll just take you off the list and pick somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very upfront. They asked if we had any drug and alcohol problems without asking that to determine whether or not it was okay for us to be in that environment.
Define problem.
Right. A drug, alcohol, and gambling problem, right? Because we're going to be in that type of environment. She must ask that question 3 times, right?
Which leads me to believe that they had some sort of situation in the past.
No doubt.
And then they probably couldn't cut that shit out of the filming. Like, I'm sure they've seen a lot of things.
I know. So I get an email that basically says, congratulations, you've been selected. I'm freaking out. I contact Rebecca. I'm like, yes, we did it. We're going to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Now, I never talked to her because when her and I were texting, she wanted to set up a meeting. Yeah. And I said, I can't do it. I'm on vacation. However, here's our link to our podcast if you want to see the two of us together.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we left it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I get the congratulations, here's your contract. Here's the information about being on the show. I tell a couple people, oh my God, this is so great. Mark's so excited. I tell Ryan's like, oh my God, this is so crazy. I can't believe you're going to be on a freaking reality TV show. I'm like, me either. And then I'm freaking out to Rebecca. I'm like, who gets to say that they go on a reality TV show with their best friend? This is such a cool part of our story. Like, how fun, right? So then a few days after the congratulations email, I get an email from this woman named Ruth.
Now, hold on. I happened to email my boss.
Yeah.
Because I realize on the calendar there is a potential conflict and I might have to be in person to a really important team event that I don't want to miss, but I'm not confirmed on those dates. So I send this whole long email to my boss saying, my best friend got this opportunity. I want to go with her. We support each other, yada, yada, yada. Like I outlined the
longest email ever.
Thing.
Longest.
And I was just like,
it's all flowery and beautiful.
I fully understand if you're, blah, 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 like all the things. But would you please consider letting me participate in this? Blah, 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 blah. Send it.
Yep. Sent.
Right.
No response yet.
Not yet.
Right at this moment. Right. And then at this point, I get an email from this woman named Ruth. I'm not going to read you the whole email. I'm just going to read you the hot spots. So, hey, I wanted to reach out in a little more personal of a way than I did with the congratulatory email went out. I've met some of you over the phone, but most of you are strangers to me, but not for too much longer. I'm the onboarding specialist at The Blox. My job is to help you navigate this important step. Now, this next paragraph is critical. So if you've not listened to anything that I've said, tune in right now.
Okay.
I'm writing to make sure you are welcome and encouraged to email me with comments, questions, and concerns. I'm aware that this is an unusual opportunity. It's not inexpensive and is a notable investment in time. So please, please, please write me with bullet points about anything I can help you gain clarity on so we can get your homework done as soon as feasible and then move on to the next fun steps. Okay? So, because I'm not an idiot, I then take the contract and I send it to our business attorney. And I say, here you go. Please look at this.
Now, this isn't a paragraph contract. This is a 15-page contract.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait.
This is a this is a
it's a 13
out of 12-page contract.
13 out of 15. 13/ out of 15 page contract. That's what it says at the bottom. 13 out of 15. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's how many pages are in the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Is it missing 2 pages?
Oh, it was 2 pages over.
Oh, no, it's 2 pages. I'm sorry.
15 out of 13?
15 out of 13 is what we meant to say.
Yes.
This is page 15 out of 13.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flat.
Sorry.
That was just the beginning.
Yeah. So our legal counsel goes in, reviews it, basically calls me and says, this is absolute trash. I've never seen a contract this bad in my entire life. I have gone through and highlighted a bunch of things you need to be aware of, but there is no way I can fix this contract in a way that makes me feel comfortable for your safety to go on this trip.
Oh my God. That is not something.
And I'm like,
a lawyer to tell you.
Well, she's just overreacting because she's a lawyer. She's fine. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at it, right? And so I go through and I look at her comments and I write what I think is a nice email back to Ruth with bullet points because that was what was requested of me. Okay. So I say, hi, Ruth, we do have some questions and concerns regarding the contract. First of all, my first bullet point is, who is Cassie Kreger? And then I indicate in there competition and subjectivity part 3, which was the part of the contract. So she could go back into the contract because it had just said you could be kicked off the show at any time if Wes or Cassie Kreger determined that you should be kicked off. So I'm like, well, who's Cassie? But, like,
we knew who Wes was.
If she's going to kick me off, like who is she?
Gotta know who she is so we keep our mouth shut around her.
My second bullet point. We're not overly thrilled with the reviews that we've seen about Osage, including those I've included below, and we would like to have an amendment to the contract that indicates that if we do not find the living conditions to be suitable, that we have the ability to go elsewhere so long as we are back at the hotel and ready for production as required. We're happy to have our legal team write up this amendment.
Now, in the contract, it specified over and over again, you are required to stay at this hotel. And so I said, as a meeting planner, as an event planner, I said to Erin, my guess is they are saying this because they are on the hook to pay for these rooms. And I said to her, I guarantee you, if you say to her, we're paying the contract, we're paying the entry fee. But if we don't want to stay there, we're not staying there. And her lawyer, Erin's lawyer, had sent her all these reviews.
Here's some of the reviews.
This is the best part.
Osage Nation police seize firearms, ammunition, and 200 grams of meth at casino. Man arrested after shooting in parking lot of Tulsa Osage Casino. Citizen saves officer by killing suspect in Osage Casino parking lot.
Oh my God.
That's just the parking lot.
Here's
the bedroom reviews.
TripAdvisor review. This was one of the worst hotels I have ever been at with my family. There were fights in the hallway all night. The room had food on the walls. There was even a guy puking on our porch. The hotel did nothing to fix the situation. Do not waste your money. Horrible room. Blood on the comforter. Worst dirty room experience I've ever had. Our room was covered in dust and not clean at all. There was a shower cap on the smoke alarm, cigarette holes in the bedding.
Jesus.
Now we all know the stories of how when I booked rooms and Erin's like, fuck no, fuck no.
Now listen, I'm bougie as they come when it comes to my living conditions. If I walked in there and it smelled the tiniest tinge of smoke, I'm out of there. If I see one drop of blood from a pinprick finger, out of there.
If she sees any sheets or decor that's not 2015 and above, we out.
That's right. If I don't like the tile on your backsplash,
gone. Gotta go.
If your shower head looks like it is more than 3 years old, gone.
If we walk into the lobby and there's a fake statue of a man holding mints, gotta go.
Gone.
If there is a refrigerator full of flower bouquets, gotta go.
If your elevator doesn't take me to the correct floor the first time and that thing is shaking like a leaf on a tree, gone. Okay, I'm not sure if we're as clear as possible here.
I'm very clear.
But I'm as bougie as they come. It is 4.5 star plus, or I ain't staying there. Okay? Now, I'll pay your contract, but I'm staying somewhere else if I don't feel comfortable or safe or whatever. So these are the reviews.
And she's paying for it, so I'll just go wherever she wants.
Right. So I include that part as a bullet point.
Right.
I then say, what is the level of success that qualifies someone to be a mentor for the program? My next bullet, what qualifies Wes to be a primary coach of the Blox? And then my other questions are just essentially like, when's it going to air and those types of things. Okay. I think those are completely appropriate questions after reading this contract put together by a 15-year-old that basically says you don't get your money back no matter what. We can kick you out for any reason whatsoever, and you don't have any say in it. We can cancel.
We can cancel, and you won't get your money back.
Get there, and we can say, "Oh, the show's not doing it anymore," and you don't get your money back. You will be charged a $1,500 rebooking fee if you go on a different season, even if it's our fault. Right. You're going on a different season, right?
I mean, page 15 out of 13 was real clear.
Right, real
and
clear.
There are no amendments.
Yes, there are no amendments to the contract. Okay, so this is where the part about empathy with boundaries starts to come in. So I get this response from Ruth. Now,
within
let me tell you, I sent the first one August 27th at 8:55 a.m. She wrote a response August 27th at 8:05 p.m.
Okay. So
got right back to you.
12 hours.
Well, I mean, within 1 day.
Right. Same day.
That's pretty fast in my mind.
Here's the response. Hi, Erin. I spoke to Cassie about your questions. Still don't know who Cassie is, but glad we talked to her about your concerns today. She is Wes's COO of Beta Blox and helps produce and direct this entire event. Wes founded this company 14 years ago and has a master's in entrepreneurship education. Side note, please tell me where that's from.
Listen.
Please tell me where that degree is from. I would like to maybe just do a quick cross check on entrepreneurship education.
Class of Thursday.
Yeah. It's Trump University. He has written and developed all of his curriculum, his company services, and this show! We don't allow cast members to stay off property or make amendments to the contract. So unfortunately, if that's going to be an issue, we will have to rescind the invitation for you to attend. Also, we're filmed at the Osage 8 times this year. It had an overall positive experience every time. The Osage location we are staying at is rated an 8.5 out of 10, and we have never experienced anything like you're calling out. I understand problems like the ones you've listed below can happen in any hotel or resort or any major city, unfortunately. And I'm not saying they did not, but we have not encountered anything like that. Respectfully, we thank you for your interest in our program, but we feel we should decline your invitation due to your request to amend our contract, stay somewhere else, as well as your concern about what qualifies Wes and the coaches he brings in to educate and mentor you.
What do you mean asking questions? You're out. Forget
Thanks for your questions and concerns. We wish you success in your business always. Okay, I get that. I get that email.
Wow.
I pull into Target. And I get Rebecca right on the horn. I go, well, we're out before it started. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, we're out. We're out of the blocks. We're out of the blocks. Now, her first concern, oh, no, I just sent this email to my boss. I just sent this email to my boss. I got to go renege that. I got to go take that back. All right. But she can tell in that moment, that's not the time to say it because I am both. I'm sad for a minute. I'm confused for a minute. And then I get angry, right? So my sadness was, oh my God, I was so excited about this. Maybe there's a way this can still be salvaged. I want to say that was 6 seconds.
Okay.
That happened. Okay. Then shortly after that, I felt the shame and guilt of being neurodivergent and like maybe my email was too pointed. So maybe I can sometimes have a tendency to come off as like, here's the question. Like, I'm not going to spend some flowery language making sure. I'm like, what qualifies Wes? What qualifies the business coach? Maybe she read it, right, in that way. I end up saying that out loud to Rebecca, and her first response is, oh, hell no. Hell no. That is not what's happening right here. That is not what's going on. Your email was completely appropriate. And so that one was about 4 seconds. And then the anger hit. And here I am.
No, I specifically said, she goes, I'm going to write Ruth back. And I said, you're not doing anything tonight. I said, you listen to me. You're doing absolutely nothing. In fact, if you do choose to write it, you're not going to send it. We're going to talk through it tomorrow morning. And you say, okay.
And you say I gotta go because I gotta get I
had to do something.
My whatever in the crock pot or something.
I don't know. I had to do something.
To do something. I don't know.
I probably hadn't made dinner
but
yet.
You did do a good job talking me through. No, this is not you. No, I think we dodged a bullet here. I think maybe this, wasn't the best opportunity for us. I start to do my own internalizing. So I start to say, no, this is when someone's asking reasonable questions, if you can't give reasonable answers back, it's because you a sham. That's the only reason you can't give these reasons back, right? So she processes this with me. And of course, I mentally write the email in Target.
I'm surprised you weren't voice noting.
I know.
Yelling.
While I'm going down the freezer section.
As you're getting whatever you're getting.
Grabbing some pierogies, throwing them in the cart. And I'm like, so Ruth. Right? So I'm mentally writing this whole thing. And I get it. I got it. I'm fired up. I am so ready. I get home. I text Mark. I say, I'm in the garage. Can you please get the stuff out of the trunk? I got to go write an email. And at this point I had said, we're off the blocks. He's like, what do you mean? Because he's all excited. So he comes out into the garage and I said, I got to go write an email. He's like, what is going on? And I said, I will tell you in a minute. I just need to write this email because it's fire right now. It is so good. And I need to make sure that I have it and I just send it. Then I'll come out and help you get whatever.
Notice she says, send it. I said, don't do anything until you read it to me.
So that was, what did I say? It was
clearly.
8. I said
she
it was
doesn't
8.
listen.
So Ruth sends that at 8:05. 8:56.
She sends an email back.
This is what I
when
send
I
back.
say you wait you
ready for this, Scott? This is.
But I don't see it till the next morning. So
but I BCC Rebecca into it,
right?
The lawyer into it,
right.
My financial advisor into it,
right?
Ryan Troop into it, because I told him we were going to build the blocks. So I made sure everyone had their update.
I wake up in the morning to this email. This is what I wake up to.
Hi, Ruth. Thank you for your passive-aggressive email. It confirmed for me what I already suspected, that The Blox is a low-rate reality TV show that lacks the funding and expertise to be successful and preys on unsuspecting new-to-be entrepreneurs looking for their chance to get on TV. If you had a successful program, you and Cassie would have read my email as a way of seeking clarity about my company's financial investment in this opportunity. Instead, you got defensive. Your seemingly shocked response to me asking questions about your contract, parentheses, questions you encouraged in your initial email, is also telltale. As such, I suggest that you amend your welcome email to incoming participants below to read as follows. Quote, I'm writing to make sure you are welcome and encouraged to email me with questions, concerns, and comments. I'm aware that this is an unusual opportunity. It's not inexpensive and is a notable investment in time. So please, please, please write me with bullet points about anything I can help you gain clarity on so we can get your homework done as soon as feasible and then move on to the next fun steps. Please note, however, if you do send me comments, questions, or concerns, we will swiftly decline your invitation to participate because we do not like entrepreneurs getting too close to the truth of what we're truly offering here.
I love it.
End quote.
I love it.
Oh, and you might also consider amending the last 2 page numbers on your contract. 13 of 12 and 14 of 12 are impossibilities. Good day, and no, really, best of luck to you, Erin.
Oh, God bless you.
Oh my God. So I wake up to this and I
wish I could hear her read that.
Well, I can.
Never got a response, guys. I know you're surprised.
I'm dying.
Not fire. Absolute fire. I never got a response. I then swiftly removed my name and email address from anything associated with this hack job, quote unquote, reality TV show. Because now I'm like, I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. Y'all are
scammers.
Not okay.
Yeah, I know. And it's funny because as soon as she had called me and said our offer was rescinded, I then replied to my boss with huge update in the subject, and I said, so we got the contract and we asked some questions, and they it's just not going to work out. something like that. And he writes back, oh, that's too bad.
This incredibly long, flowery email. He's just like, okay, thanks for letting me know. Oh, all right. Okay.
I got to tell you, this is heartbreaking.
I know. All these people.
I mean,
which part's heartbreaking?
There are many different levels of heartbreak to this story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The most, at least from a selfish point of view, I was really excited about having you guys in some sort of forum that put you and the podcast in front of an audience that could, grab on to what we're doing and be like, even if it had a modest following, I know people would be like, we have to listen to their podcast. Right. They're amazing.
Right.
And
we were also very clear that it would end up being the Rebecca and Erin show, and everybody else was going to be terrible.
Yeah.
So,
but they saw you as a definite problem.
100%.
You guys were definitely going to be a problem because you don't need them.
No,
you don't need that. It was something cool, and you're not like some people would sell out their family to be on TV.
That's right. That's right.
And
then they can be taken advantage of because of that.
Exactly. And it really, the fact that Amazon allows this to happen is shocking to me.
Well, it's not free. You have to pay for it.
But it's a show on Amazon, right?
That you have to pay for.
You have to even subscribe to the show?
No, you have to
per season
pay per season. So it's not, even if you are a Prime membership, right. They're selling it. Amazon sells it.
Not okay. I got you. So it's not a show that's produced by Amazon. It's not you can just watch it on Amazon.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well,
and probably some other platforms.
Well, that actually makes more sense to me. And now, see, in my mind, it was an Amazon show.
Right.
And so I was blown away by like, how could Amazon even remotely stand behind this? There's no way.
No, it says that in the contract too. Like if you're going to be talking about it in any way, shape, or form, you have to say something like, as seen as available on Amazon Prime, whatever, right? Like you couldn't use the term Amazon, and then you couldn't use, like, it was very clear on if you were going to promote it, how it was that you were going to talk about it, right?
Wow.
And when you look up this Wes guy, he's like mega douche. Mega douche personality.
All Mark had to say about him was, he really wears his heart right on his sleeve. He gets real upset when, relationships don't work out or whatever, from his time on Road Rules or whatever he was on. But
he's super douche.
I would really like to try to find some former contestants of The Blox and get their...
So I did. I went down a rabbit hole.
Did you?
I went down a rabbit hole of Reddits, and because I wanted to get proof that it was a scam, and I couldn't find any quote unquote scam type things. But it definitely was not an environment you and I would have been excited about. It's the type of people who want validation, want the community, have no idea what they're doing with their business. A lot of it is just side gig type of stuff. And then I went to some of their Instagram. So there was nothing necessarily negative about it. It just was very, very, very beginner type.
But I want to meet and talk to the kind of person who thinks that contract was okay.
That was my question.
In that contract that
if you read it, you would die. The first 3 sentences, it's like, absolutely not.
That was my concern. And that's why in that message back, I said, you are scamming newbie entrepreneurs who want an opportunity to be on TV. Many of them probably just hoping to get some notoriety for their business, to have
it's predatory.
It's not okay. And that's where the boundary piece comes in for me. So the important part of this discussion for me is, it was okay to feel that sense of sadness. It's okay. I had the same reaction you did, Scott, where I wanted to bargain with, well, could I just change this about the contract or that about the contract, right? Or, well, are they really saying something that is of value and am I just missing it? Those are all very empathic responses. Am I just not understanding from their point of view where they're coming from? I've never been on a reality TV show before. I've never, had to deal with this number of people who probably do take advantage of situations, right? I was really trying to give the benefit of the doubt. And I found that you're more likely to give the benefit of the doubt when it's something you really want. And when you're willing to overlook things when it's something that you really want, right?
How's that different than in a relationship?
You know what this reminds me of? When I was 18, 19 years old, I had a band. And
you told the story of the guy who convinced you?
Yeah. This is so, I wanted that to happen so badly that I completely overlooked all the red flags and everything that said, this guy's he's totally a piece of shit. He's totally like trying, and I don't know if he was actually, I can't imagine there was anything for him to gain except that he was making himself seem more important than he actually was. Because he never asked us for money or anything like that. But maybe that was down the line. Who knows? But, gosh.
Yeah. It's
terrible.
And so that part is a really normal part of empathy. And that's what happens when you're an empathic person and you want something and you care, is that you are constantly trying to see, even in that really shitty contract, I was trying to understand their point of view. So 2 things were important to me there. 1, you surround yourself with people who don't have the emotional attachment that you do to the situation, right? In this case, it was my attorney. And then take what they have to say also empathically, right? So I second guessed that feedback a lot because I didn't know the motive or where it was coming from. Is she just trying to protect me? Is there any feelings of, being disappointed that she's not also going to be on the show? We know that's for sure now, right? But I had to assess that. I had to determine, because she's also a business owner herself, right? Is there fear that people have with being on a reality TV show? Is it all protection? Everyone comes to every conversation with their backpack on that's full of their own experiences, right? So the part I want to really emphasize about empathy is it's okay to look at a situation that doesn't feel right on the surface and still have empathy for that, right? To still second guess that. And that's exactly what I did. I felt sad about it. And then I felt shame and guilt that maybe I had caused the initial reaction I got from Ruth. So there were some trigger words in that email. One was, we've never had experiences that you're calling out. The term calling out from me was a trigger because I'm like, I don't, calling out to me means I'm putting you on blast that this, and this. And I wasn't doing that. I was literally copying and pasting the reviews that were from the site. Right?
Let's be really clear. You never would have looked up reviews of that hotel unless Morgan put here's the reason I'm concerned about what this states in the contract.
Yes.
And here's the reasons.
Yes.
I want you to review them and be aware of what you're entering into.
She even said, here's one positive review.
Right.
They're fewer and far between, but here's a couple positive reviews that are in here, right? From more recently, right? So you have the empathy response, you have the sadness response, you have the bargaining response of like, oh, how can I still make this work? But then when the boundary comes in, what happened for me, that I remember the trigger of the boundary being set was, is it okay for you to ask questions? This is me asking myself. The answer is yes. What do you know about people who respond to questions in this way? The answer is they're hiding something. It was that linear of an equation for me. And that's what gave me permission, if you will, to say it's okay for me to set a boundary. The minute I said that out loud, it felt like unfairness. Here's where my neurodivergence comes into play again, right? Because it's not fair for me to ask you a question and for you to have that type of response. I struggle with this my whole life. I ask a ridiculous number of questions. I don't come from that same place of passive aggressiveness and like asking a question within my question and asking a convoluted question. But in fact, I hate when people do that. I say constantly, are you asking a question or making a statement? So are you going to do the dishes today? Is that a real question or are you making a statement? Do you mean to be saying to me, the dishes have been sitting in the sink for 2 weeks and I'd really appreciate it if you did it? Which one? Because I prefer the statements. Don't try and communicate with me in this fake ass, I'm going to ask a question way, but it's not really a question. I can't read between those lines and then I'm annoyed. And that happened a lot during my childhood. There were constant questions that weren't questions. Everyone knew the answer. We just weren't going to say what that answer was out loud, right? So that's a big trigger for me. So here I am asking what I feel are reasonable questions. And then I needed you to confirm for me that they were reasonable. At that point, my boundary is set. I'm completely clear and I don't go back on that. So for me, that boundary line is, have I been able to make logical sense out of an emotional situation? And then do I feel justified at the end of the day with what my reaction is going to be? If that formula all comes together, that's when I can successfully set a boundary. I say successfully, that might not be the right word. I'm really clear about setting those boundaries, almost to the point where I'm incredibly stubborn and won't go back on it. So I knew if Ruth wrote back, I was not going to read the email. I was just going to move it into my blocks folder that I had started. Why? Because if anything ever came up legally or otherwise, I wanted to make sure I had that response, but I was going to refuse to read it. That was clear to me. Nothing was going to make me change my mind, right? If I go and set a boundary on something and I'm very clear with you about something, I'm not going back on that. I'm not someone who's wishy-washy. If I say I'm not going to talk to my neighbor anymore because I can justify the fact that this, and this happened, I'm not talking to the neighbor again, right? That part is my question about, do you find in your own boundary setting, both of you, that is the same process that you go through, or is it more wishy-washy?
Oh, wishy-washy for sure, because I'm terrible at boundaries. I can't.
How do you know when to set a boundary?
I don't.
You don't?
That's not true.
Feel it?
I know when to do it. I don't know how to do it effectively and maintain it.
So will you set the boundary, or because you know you should be setting a boundary but don't know how to set it, will you just not set it?
I will not set it. Or I will attempt to set it and it doesn't feel good and I don't like all the feelings and the emotional baggage that comes with it. So I either just avoid it or disengage.
I think that's so common. What about you, Scott?
I always seem to make the mistake of kind of like burying my head in the sand and just hoping that the boundary is going to establish itself, and kind of walk that line and be like, but lately I've been getting better at actually just thinking about it beforehand. When I make a new acquaintance, I think to myself, what are my boundaries here? How am I for every interaction? I try to think about how am I going to respond and why? And I've learned that from this podcast.
I tell you guys all the time, I have a no for 48 rule. That's one of the things that I do to set my boundary is I'm not always great about setting those boundaries. And so I'll just say yes to everything. And one of the ways that I've combated that is by saying, I say no for 48 hours. And if at the end of 48 hours, I still feel very strongly that I should be on the PTA, or I should go and write back to Ruth, or I should, whatever. Ruth's a bad example. Found that one real quick. That I will go back and I will entertain that, or I will do that. But I have to give myself a natural 48-hour pause because
a pause. The pause. Look at my pause.
48-hour pause.
Pause.
Everybody's got their pause.
Yeah.
In order to give myself that natural stopping point, right?
Or thought process. Time to
really see how I feel about it.
What is that called? Debrief or pick it apart.
Process or
Here's a good, I'm going to cross over a boundary and say it's time to end the fucking podcast.
That was very clear. I appreciate that you ended it there. There were kinder ways to do that maybe we could talk about in the future. And
he does. He flashes the legacy thing and you still don't get it.
When did you flash it?
He didn't do it this time.
I haven't done that in forever.
No, but I see when you do that,
God.
she thinks it's a glitch in the
I think you've screwed up.
And I'm like,
I think you just screwed up.
Time to go.
No, that I
maybe if we establish the boundary
rude.
in advance. Oh my God, I can't.
What?
That's terribly rude. Which one?
When I do this.
The legacy?
Yeah.
That's not rude at all.
Which one was more rude? It's time to stop the fucking podcast, or the legacy? Which one? Which one was more rude?
Yeah.
Well, Rebecca, I'm sorry, but we don't have time for your hippie voo shit because Scott just
do the hippie voo. You can still end the podcast properly. Just do the
wrap it up now. Okay. So our card today is the Star, which I know we've had before. And it says, and I don't know if this is going to actually relate now or not, because I had no idea what we were going to talk about, but it says, like the OG version of #blessed, this card unleashes a meteor shower of celestial gifts and restores your glowing faith in the universe. Shake hands with magic and let it mainline some prescription grade warm and fuzzy straight into your crown chakra. You'll remember what a radiant star you are and won't stand for anyone trying to dim that light. Now go find your car keys so you can head out and shine bright.
Not letting you dim my light, Scott. Look at me.
On the block.
She put.
I loved that.
Me too. Isn't empathy amazing?
Well, we're amazing. I don't know about all this empathy stuff.
That's fine. I accept you wherever you are.
Oh, God.
I love you.
I love you too.
And if you love us, please like and subscribe to More Love, the Power of Empathy podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
See you next time.